Hello everyone, I am Dr. Nsah, and I'm very delighted to make this video contribution which falls within the context of the recently organized Youth Empowerment Program within the Waves of Glory Ministry. I welcome this opportunity to talk to young Cameroonians and other young people from elsewhere in Africa and perhaps maybe beyond, that empowerment is very important for our success. And this can be done in many ways, including formal and informal education, lifelong learning, entrepreneurship, creativity, and you name the rest. And in this video, I want to talk about two ways of improving oneself professionally, empowering oneself professionally. And the first of them is about volunteerism. Because very often we hear young people complain that, yes, I don't have experience, I want to apply for this or that job, and it is not possible because they are asking for 5 years or 6 years or 1 year or 2 years of experience, which I don't have. However, if you are animated by the desire not only to create opportunities as an entrepreneur, to create value, or even to create impact by offering your services, your skills, your talents, so as to leave a positive impact on the planet Earth that we share, then one way to go about this, for those who want to choose the path of even civil society, or the path of even furthering studies, or the path of professional life, volunteerism can be a great way to build skills, to gain experience, and to expand one's networks. And it's never small where you start volunteering. You can volunteer in an orphanage in your community, you can volunteer in your church, you can volunteer in organizations, NGOs. The list is just so long, which means you can approach an environmental NGO, a human rights NGO, an empowerment NGO, a gender advocacy NGO, a political advocacy NGO, write a good letter of recommendation and a good letter of application, and send to them and say, well, here's me, I'm such and such person, I've finished school, I have this certificate, and I would like to volunteer with your association or with your business in order to gain experience and contribute my own skills and talent to the development of your association or your organization or your business. For instance, I've volunteered for several associations and organizations across the world which have helped me to build connections and networks. A non-exclusive list would include organizations such as World Post in the US, World Youth Foundation in Malaysia, the UN Volunteers Program, which led me to volunteer for UNDP Cameroon, UNICEF Kyrgyzstan, and also think tanks such as, for instance, Public Policy in Africa Initiative, to name but just this, including also community organizations such as the Nsah Area Development Association in different capacities, such as Secretary General of the branch in Bambili, Secretary General of the branch in Yaoundé, and the list continues. And that's where my community of origin. And I'm also doing a lot of work now still in this domain of volunteering, in addition to my professional commitments and other commitments. So I encourage young people to seize these opportunities because they build your skills and then they lead you on to grabbing opportunities such as, for example, youth empowerment, entrepreneurship programs like the Young African Leaders Initiative, that is sponsored by the US Department of State or the Queen's Young People's Program and similar programs across the world. Each time you show proof that you've volunteered, it proves to the world that you care and that you want to make a difference. And these things are also things that matter a lot when you are applying for scholarships, because now I want to transition and talk about scholarships. As far as scholarships are concerned, there are many types, but I would talk about two types, which are partial scholarships and full scholarships. Partial scholarships are when you get maybe part of your school fee is paid, or your school fee is paid and you're supposed to take care of yourself. But full scholarships usually mean that your tuition, your school fee is covered, that your flight tickets to and from the country are covered, and that you are offered a monthly allowance, or otherwise called a stipend, to take care of your basic needs, either to pay for your accommodation, or sometimes accommodation is provided. And the crucial elements that you need when you are applying for such opportunities are to have good results in school, but also to be of good conduct, to show a sense of initiative, to write good letters of motivation, which sometimes are called statements of purpose or statements of support, in which you need to explain convincingly why you are choosing such and such a degree program, and how it will contribute to your professional advancement, and how your society and community are going to benefit from you are studying that program, and how it fits into your previous studies and your plans either for further studies or your professional life. And you need to secure good letters of recommendation from your professors, and sometimes also from the organizations with which you are volunteered. For students with the backgrounds in in humanities and arts, very often you need a GDP of at least 3 on 4 or 75 on 100 to compete for international scholarships. For students from science and technology backgrounds, very often you are required to have a minimum of 3.5 on 4, etc. But of course, sometimes you might have slightly smaller, and you are able to explain that by showing commitment, volunteerism, engagement, and also publications in journals. And now, having said these things, you also now automatically understand why it is good to keep good relations with your professors and with your employers or people who supervise you when you are volunteering, because they will need to speak to champion your cause when you are applying for scholarships. And in some cases, you also need to write language tests, such as TOEFL, Test of English as a Foreign Language, or IELTS, International English Language Testing System, or French test if you are going to a French country. And there are lots and lots of scholarships within Africa and beyond Africa that we can explore. So I will be talking mostly about scholarships that you can search on the internet and find them and apply to them directly. Sometimes you are applying through the embassy of that country in our country. Examples include the Chinese government scholarship, the Turkish government scholarship, the Japanese government scholarship, and the Japanese government stroke World Bank scholarship, the Chevening scholarship offered by the UK government, the Commonwealth scholarships of different categories, Fulbright scholarships offered by the US government, and individual scholarships. There are also scholarships like the Banting scholarship, usually for postdoctoral studies or research in Canada. But some of the things you need to know is that, for instance, in most universities in Canada and the US, when you get admissions into a master's program and a PhD program, you are automatically granted funding, scholarships, which could be part scholarship money and part what they call teaching assistantship or research assistantship. That is, you'll be paid for assisting one of your professors with research, or you will be paid to teach some undergraduate courses to assist in teaching or in grading scripts from students, marking their exams. So the good thing left to do is therefore always to maybe go search scholarships, go to search a list of universities in Canada on Google, or a list of universities in the USA on Google, or a list of universities in the UK, or in France, or in Belgium, or in Algeria, Tunisia, or Ethiopia, Ghana, South Africa, etc. And when you go into the different websites of those universities, then you can look on the departments that concern you, and you would often see a lot of scholarships. Sometimes you can also just search maybe scholarships in chemistry, or scholarships in biology, or scholarships in economics. You will see a lot of stuff online. But always remember that in the US and in Canada, your students are often expected to pay something called an application fee before the application is studied. But sometimes you can apply and that will be waived. Another thing to consider seriously is that for some of the scholarships that are listed for countries which have different languages, because take another national scholarship I didn't mention, I forgot, is the DAAD scholarship in Germany. So with scholarships from governments in countries that speak other languages other than English or French for some of us, always know that if you are accepting the scholarship, most of the times one of the conditions is to first learn the language of that country before you continue with your studies when you arrive there. And there are Italian government scholarships, etc. And one other scholarship I need to highlight, which is also very important for our continental promotion, is the African Union Scholarship of the Pan-African University. And so, having said all these things, I encourage you to know that there is a wealth of opportunities out there waiting for you. You can explore some of the ones that I've mentioned here. You can go and do Google searching to find other ones. I've given you tips on how to find them. And of course, you can always follow me on social media, especially on YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn, where I generally share a lot of opportunities that I come across, especially scholarships. And one last thing too I would say is that generally there are more scholarships starting from the master's level to the PhD level than they are at the bachelor's level. And so my advice is usually to first do a degree before you start looking for scholarships at the master's level. And also keep in mind that there are some certificates that can work within our countries but will not help you to get admissions abroad. So if you want to go abroad to do a master's, you must have a degree. So don't think that you can have an HND and then you go abroad to do a master's, because an HND is not a degree. And to do a master's, you must have a bachelor's degree. So, and to do a PhD, in most cases you need a master's, but in some cases you can also be admitted directly into some universities to do a PhD starting just after your bachelor's degree. And when that happens, then the duration of your PhD will be longer. Yeah, I think I will leave you with this, and I will encourage you to explore these opportunities here and use this as an inspiration to find more and engage with them and continue to impact society. And remember that we have a continent to build, and we have a country to build, and we have contributions to make to the peace and prosperity of the world and the planet that we share with many other people. Thank you.